Hey, this is Russell, and I work at the video store, the place where we can all go once a week to find something to watch. Each week, interesting guests pop in to rent something, and when the store is quiet, I get to watch movies and series and talk about them with my friends. All right, let's do it. Let's open up the shop.
Did you see that thing yesterday on the TV? It was ready, interesting!
How's it, guys?
Hello.
Good morning.
We got Cole here today, and we got Marigold.
Hi.
Woo.
It's nice to do a shift with you guys.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have you back.
Yeah, I've been on sick leave. I'm sorry.
We roped you in right at the start,
Yes.
and then you got lovely and nice and busy, and we also put our head down and kept going. And then we were like, we want to hear from Marigold again. So we want to have you join on some shifts every now and again. Okay, cool. Today on the show, because it's a little quiet now, we're just getting our shop in order. Hayley Owen Watters is going to pop in to rent something. She is a old dear friend of mine and a very talented actress and entrepreneur and just a delight. Just one of those people that always liven up the room and liven up, everything around them. She's amazing, and it's going to be nice to ask her the questions. And what I mean by the questions is the fact that here in the video store, we have started figuring out this formula, Marigold. I don't know whether you've noticed it in the episodes.
Yeah.
Where we wanted to give these guest chats a little bit of a structure. So we journey through your life to talk about your relationship with films and which films have come along the way. So it's a lovely formula that could be, a 40-minute, hour-long chat, or it could be more condensed. So after this chat with Hayley, I'd love to ask you those questions.
Awesome. Yes.
Because I think it's a great chance and a great way to quickly get to know someone.
Yeah.
And I think it says so much about the person based on which films helped shape them. And I'm really, really loving this.
Yeah.
Since we found this formula, I think the shows are taking so much more shape because you guided in such a cool way. And so far, I've banked 1 or 2 episodes which are going to come out soon with really amazing, quite big guests. I'm quite stoked about it. And it's very interesting to see what they have as their films. Or if they don't have, that also says something, which is kind of interesting. But big love and shout out to everyone who came out to our video store presents night of the movie Old Boy. I was away. I had to handle another screening, so I wasn't there. But representing the video store was Cole and Marigold.
Woo.
Yeah.
Cole did a fun introduction.
I didn't get to see.
You didn't get to see that?
unfortunately.
So we've got this thing now where we want to give away presents at the start of our screenings, and we want to ask these questions.
Yeah.
And we, what I really love about the video store in general is that because we're starting from nothing, we're building up as we go, and we're building up these little traditions and these things. So we've done a couple of screenings, which are these video store presents nights, where because we record this episode inside the Bioscope, because this podcast has very much come out of the Bioscope, which is an independent cinema here in Johannesburg, for those of you who don't know, which I'm also the owner of. It's a natural progression that we host these screenings in the cinema. And specifically, we want it to be the films that we think people should see, that some people love, that other people haven't seen. And these are usually somewhat more obscure films.
Yeah.
And the best ones are the foreign language ones, where that hasn't hit everyone. People don't know all these films, but the people who have seen them really love them.
Yeah.
And Old Boy is one of them. So I'll get more into Old Boy for a sec. But when Cole, we had some posters that we wanted to give away. So we thought, okay, let's ask people questions. And moments before, maybe Cole, you tell the story.
Yeah. I don't know what part of the story you want me to tell, though.
What we made people do to
amazing.
give the answer.
Yeah. So I was talking to Kelly Cropman and Gavin Pincus,
Yeah.
a couple who is also a
Gavin Pincus was on the show. So
Okay.
he
a loyal
is,
customer.
I love Gavin,
we
man.
call them loyal customers, which are people who have been on the show
And
as guests.
I was talking to Kelly about when we were outside sharing smoke. I was like, how do I get people to like, I'm going to give away posters by asking trivia questions about Old Boy and the podcast, right? So I was like, how do I get them to like stand up or say their name or what's the order?
How do we
What's
know
the-
who kind of gets it
and
first?
are people going to shout over each other? And I was a little bit nervous because I'd never done anything like this before. And she had the great idea to say, why don't they shout out, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," and stand up?
They have to stand up and say it.
Yes.
Oh, Captain, my Captain. Have you seen Dead Poets Society?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a nice little hark to that. So I just love that now the video store presents nights have this thing before and they now have this way of doing it.
Yeah.
And I just love that. I love giving things
I think it's
Like
beautiful.
structure
Yeah.
along the way and naming things. And
Yeah.
I get such a kick out of that.
Yeah.
So when Cole told me that that's how they did it, I love that. And I was like, we are now going to do that
A captivate.
every time we do.
Yeah, kudos to Kelly for giving us that brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to have that. So yeah, we'll be hosting another Video Store Presents night soon. So please keep an eye on all our social media, and of course that'll also come out through the Bioscope. But Hayley, as I said, will pop in to rent something soon. Then after the chat, please stick around because I want to ask Marigold those questions, and I want to catch up with Cole and Marigold, and we're going to talk about some of the things we're watching. I've got this great TV show that I think you guys will like, which is a good balance of comedy and a little bit of heartfelt, but it's something nice, light and fun, which I'm excited to share with you guys on. Cole, you want to talk about?
The Bear.
The Bear. Okay, we're in
Again.
season 2, so we're getting into the weeds. So anyone who is watching The Bear, please stick around for that. Marigold, you got some stuff?
I got a few things.
Yeah. So we're going to chat about that after Hayley's chat, so please stick around. And yeah, let's get into it, huh? Okay, so let's get into it. This is Hayley Owen Watters popping in to rent something. How's it?
Hi, Russ.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I love it when kind of paths separate and then find their way back together again.
I was thinking now that you are probably one of my oldest friends.
I'd say grade 3 or grade 4.
Do you remember there was a guy called Neil Marks?
No.
He was at Bryanston Primary. Maybe you didn't know him, but I worked out the other day that we actually went to nursery school together. So he's probably like.
So I'm not the oldest.
You might not be the oldest, but you certainly.
Yeah, we've got a history.
We've certainly got a history,
Yes.
and it's a lovely one, which, as you said, has involved us coming back to each other a few times. We obviously knew each other in primary school. And then we connected again at varsity, which was lovely at Wits. And then I've been watching your exciting career.
As I've been watching yours.
How would you kind of introduce yourself now? I mean, you are an actress, but you so much more as well.
So, yeah, it's a good question. So I always wanted to introduce myself as an actress, and people said, don't be shy to introduce yourself as an actor. You know, you're an actor. That's what you
Yeah.
studied. That's what your profession is. But I would actually call myself now a business owner, an agency owner, where I still try and keep the acting alive where I can.
Yeah.
And then I'm a mom. So yeah, I would say...
Yeah. A
Entrepreneurs,
combination of all of
yeah.
it. The business itself is Actorvate,
Yes.
which, how do you describe what that is?
So, influencer marketing agency.
Yeah.
So, we pair brands that want to do digital campaigns with the right people on social media.
Yeah, and so we connected, like we're talking about, recently, where you got short straw to eat a wimpy breakfast, which was a very easy job
Yeah.
and a very nice thing to do. You know, we've spent our whole lives as a band traveling, paying for our wimpy. It was quite nice
To get a free...
to have Wimpy pay us to eat their breakfast, and it was fun, and it was cool to have it all happen, and it was nice that we were able to work together in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, we're always trying to think of new ways that brands can kind of, you know, sell something in a fresh, kind of engaging way. You know, what's going to make you stop scrolling when you're going through your timeline.
Yeah,
And Yeah.
But it's interesting that it came from the point of view of you as an actress, and using actors, well, not actors specifically, but knowing what the people can do. How does that make sense?
So it definitely grew from me being in the soapies, and people in PR agencies would contact me and they'd say, "Can you invite your cast to this Coke event? Can you invite your cast to this Pandora event?" And they knew that I was in that world before influencer marketing was even, dubbed that.
Yeah.
And so they always wanted to get celebrities and personalities to events. And then they realize that these people often let them down if they don't pay them. And hence the whole industry grew.
Money makes it a lot easier for someone to show up, especially if their job, be it an actor or a musician, like money makes it happen.
And of course, then it grows from going to events to doing social media posts and creating original content for the brand, which they get paid a shitload for.
Yeah. Okay, let's just mention one thing quick, because then I want to dial back and work through some things. But you were in the soapies, as you said. What were we? It was The Wild.
Yeah, so that was my big break.
That was the big thing.
Yeah, Game Ranger Angie.
And we were so proud of you. I was so proud. I was like, this is great, because it was a great show, and it certainly it made sense that a show like that was made in South Africa, set on a game farm, right?
No, it was a dream. I mean, you were literally, and it felt, because it was shot in such a way, you felt like you were on a movie set every day. You didn't feel like you were in this little soapy studio.
Yeah.
And so it was a real privilege to be on that show, and very tragic when it was forced to end.
Yeah, and I actually know someone who you know. So my girlfriend, Leslie, her cousin is Neil Mostert. I don't know how you pronounce his surname. And he was on the farm, and he was like a locations dude, and he was around.
Oh yeah.
And that was a big part of his life, was because the correct me if I'm wrong, but the show bought the farm.
So
the show owned the farm, or something along those lines.
Yeah, that was actually one of the reasons why it ended, is that the production company bought a farm that then all the neighbors came together to say they don't want production happening there. And so then the production company had to rent the farm that we actually shot on. So, they were extended by owning this property where they couldn't shoot, and then renting another property. So
no, and it's such a pity that the show suffered from some level of property bureaucracy.
I know. And you look at some of the local shows that are being produced now, and I feel like now is the time when The Wild would have gone on for years and years, because people are really appreciating production value, and they're used to seeing Netflix shows, and The Wild looked like a Netflix show.
Yeah. No, it was. It predated a lot of that. I don't know if you remember when Scrubs came out. It was quite a revolutionary show, because it was the kind of the format of a sitcom, but shot on location in an actual hospital, and it made a difference.
It makes a huge difference.
The way in which you linked to the show, and then the other one was that really cool movie with it was a very sweet movie with Rob Lowe.
Oh, you watched it?
Of course I watched it.
Thank you.
Because it was a big Netflix movie that Hayley was in.
And I got to kiss Rob Lowe. I need to claim that.
You fucking can own that. Christmas in the Wild.
Yes.
Which was like the Netflix movie is the evolution of the kind of made-for-TV movie. But it's obviously scaled up in terms of its production quality and its... and everything. I mean, they now these kind of Netflix movies, as you said, just are of such great quality. But every now and again, you get that kind of Christmas movie, which has got a big dollop of Christmas movie ingredient in it.
It was very much a Christmas movie.
Where it's a bit soppier and a bit more emotional, a bit more heartfelt, but fucking great. Because that's the magic of it. And we want that. We want that from those movies.
I can't believe how many people watch that movie, because, people that I've met, over the years in various countries, they messaged me to say they saw me in the movie. And I had no idea that adults, people our age, were watching Christmas movies.
Oh, and totally. And now more than ever, I probably would have poo-pooed it in my, I think I'm cool kind of 20s. But 30s, and with my partner, totally, around Christmas time, it's what you need. Especially when, and we'll get into it, where, you know, we're working, we're busy, especially around Christmas time for the Bioscope. It's like, we got to keep it fun and easy.
Yeah.
Like our programming in December just gets more fun and light.
Oh, good to know.
I look for that Christmas break now more than ever before.
Jeez,
You know,
big
it
time.
really is like the only time I get to kind of completely,
Same.
you know, relax. And so we need these things to unwind.
Interesting about that movie. So Kristen Davis, who was in it from Sex and the City, she's hugely passionate about elephants. So she was actually
Yeah.
one of the producers of the movie.
Okay, so she worked to make it happen.
She worked to make it happen and was so precious about how the elephants were treated in that movie. So you couldn't say, okay, we're going to shoot this movie with this we're going to shoot this scene with this elephant now, because we weren't able to disrupt their natural pattern of feeding. So if we wanted to shoot them with the sunset, we had to wait for them to eventually get in front of the sun to shoot. We weren't allowed to move
interesting.
them or coerce them in any unnatural pattern.
Oh, lovely. So she's from Sex and the City, and the whole back of the box is that she was going to go on a holiday with her.
She gets divorced.
She gets divorced, and so then she decides she's still going to take this holiday on her own.
Go to Africa.
Go to Africa, and then she meets this handsome rogue pilot.
Yep.
Played by Rob Lowe. Is he as handsome in real life?
Probably even more. Like, it's so, men just age so bloody well, I swear.
Hey.
Yes. No, he's,
I'm now getting some grey in my beard, and I'm loving it.
you can own it. You can own it. No.
I made a joke. I was like, yeah, I'm looking more like George Clooney. It's like, I look fucking nothing like George Clooney. But
Go there.
we had this amazing episode with a woman called Deborah Darling.
Oh,
You know
influencer.
Deborah? Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's so lovely. And we were just basically talking about that, where men can look to so many aging role models when women don't necessarily have them. And the whole idea is that you're meant to sort of fight the aging, but you shouldn't.
Deborah's a great
interesting.
advocate for that.
Okay, so then you play Rob Lowe's sort of fling, I guess.
yeah.
You know, he's this lone wolf dude who tracks elephants and does all sorts of shit. And
Yeah, I'm just
and-
his little kind of floss on the side, but then Miss America arrives and I'm shoved to the side because
Yeah.
Miss Elephant Lover has arrived.
But well done, it was cool. It was nice to
Do you
see
know what?
you.
Thank you. It was such a great experience. Again, like just being on location in the bush. I don't know why I always get these like.
It makes sense. But
Yeah.
perhaps you can just talk for a sec about something which you once exposed me to, which was what it felt like to be in those audition rooms where, you know, for someone like yourself who is an attractive blonde white lady, you don't think about your individualism until you say it. But I mean, the idea was that you just are in a room full of attractive blonde white ladies.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think I've kind of told the story, but what was?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a young actress, it takes a while to really build your confidence in those auditions because you go in initially quite self-conscious. And I remember once going to an audition. Do you remember Tanit Phoenix?
Yes.
Okay, she was like a model and in some Leah Schuster movies. And I once went into an audition where they took a few girls in at the same time, and I saw her audition, and my God, she just owned it. She pulled her skirt up, she made her voice louder, she like oozed into the camera, and I just realized how kind of shy I'd been in my auditions and how, you know, you've just got to own the space when you walk in there. And I think when you're really young, it's quite hard, but it just comes with experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it can be very daunting, especially when they put you in a bikini and tell you to turn around slowly.
Oh God. Yeah. I don't know whether we need to get into that too much, but shame. How did so something like maybe The Wild? I mean, were there lots of other people?
Yeah.
in the running, or how did that role land?
Land. So it was through having an agent, and
You're
having
just the right person.
doing a good audition and doing a callback, and I think just it came down to the audition and it being a right fit for character fit.
Okay, so what we like to do is we like to dial back and go back and just take a little journey through your life, because we like the idea of seeing what films marked certain periods in your life and your relationship with film. It doesn't have to necessarily be the big and main thing in your life if there was other things, but I would imagine that as an actress, film was a big part of it. And or TV shows. It doesn't necessarily have to be film specifically, but at each point in your life, there were films that you encountered that helped shape you, and I always think that that's very interesting. So the first film we have, we call it the puppy love film, which was the relationship you had with the film, being similar to the film, the kind of relationship you had with people at that time, which is when you're in primary school and you're excited about holding hands, which, dare I say it, was a little bit of a puppy. You were actually, in real life, my puppy love.
And let me tell you, you've, over the years, and especially in varsity, you introduced me to many films that I would otherwise never have known about.
But I remember literally when we were in primary school, I remember being excited about holding your hand.
Oh, Ras, I'm sure I was very excited about your hand too. Probably very sweaty and nervous, but excited too.
No, but that was, it was just a beautiful, fun, harmless relationship. But the question is, what were the films that you had that kind of relationship with?
Sure. So
do you remember?
It's got to be the musicals, the Sound of Music, the Mary Poppins. My dad got us onto West Side Story really young.
Did you watch the remake recently?
Yeah,
it's
brilliant.
lovely. Hey?
Yeah, loved it. So I'd say it's the musicals. Sound of Music standing out more than the others, probably.
There was a great interview with Hugh Grant recently where they said, "What's your greatest film of all time?" He didn't skip a beat. He goes, "Sound of Music."
Really?
And he's like, he said something funny in a very Hugh Grant way about how he's married to a particular woman. I forget her nationality, but it was sort of something like Scandinavian or German or something, where he said, they don't really show emotion, but here she has a husband who sings along to Mother Superior.
Amazing.
No, and you forget how long Sound of Music is. It's 3 hours.
Yeah, flip.
There's an actual intermission sign that comes up.
And our little VHS as a kid, it didn't actually go right to the end. So we actually didn't see the end for many years.
Maybe that's okay, because you forget at the end.
It's quite political.
The Nazis arrive.
I know.
And they have to hide and flee, and it gets quite intense.
I was in.
So maybe you just got the best.
I literally
the best
did.
cut,
I did. They got married and then it ended. But I was in Salzburg last year and I did the Sound of Music tour, which was very nostalgic. And
I spent a little bit of time
along.
in Salzburg. I spent a day there, and I saw that there were Sound of Music tours.
On a bike with they put like a speaker in the basket of your bike playing the songs. Yeah.
Do you go to any of the locations?
All of them.
Okay.
Yeah. No, all of them.
The house, is it sort of still there? I don't know whether we know exactly which hill she was on.
No, and that was apparently over the border. So the house where you see them getting out the boat and that kind of outside area is one house, and then the interior house is another house, which is actually quite run down now. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. All right. Then we go on to high school. So you went to Saints.
Yes.
I went to Bryanston. So this is the period where we didn't see much of each other. So we grew up both in Johannesburg, if that's not clear. We have this film which we call the Teenage Crush, which is you more of a fanatic about. Perhaps it's a bit more risque because you are getting a bit older now. So like for me, that was Amelie. Do you know what I mean? It was like starting to craft your love for film, seeing some stuff that perhaps it's starting to blow your mind because it's, you know, like a French film and you wouldn't have normally seen that. Okay.
Trying to think of my DVD collection, like your old school DVD collection. Oh, didn't Moulin Rouge come out at that time?
Yep.
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 No,
Yep.
it would have been Moulin Rouge.
100%.
Yeah.
So sticking with the musical theme.
I know, and I'm desperate. It's now a stage show on Broadway in the West End, and I'm desperate to see it.
Wow. Yeah, Moulin Rouge for me with my then high school sweetheart was a pivotal part of our relationship. Where me and her went on this date and we watched Moulin Rouge, and I was like, this is how I want to express my love to the woman in my
Russ,
life.
you're such a romantic. I miss this.
I want to sing Elton John songs to them.
Oh my God.
And I was like, this is my everything. Combined with a very adventurous and experimental film technique. You know, Baz Luhrmann has done all of
Yeah.
that. Have you watched Elvis?
I haven't actually.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
you'd appreciate it.
I know.
It reminds you of what he does, where the camera sort of spirals in and goes on this whole adventure.
No, it's a
as
good
a- as a-
reminder.
as a
I've been
camera.
meaning to watch that.
Cool. No, Moulin Rouge was phenomenal. And when it opens with them doing that medley, and one part of the medley is Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit. I'm like, this is everything.
Yeah, no, it's still everything to me. But yeah, when it first came out, I mean, that DVD was on repeat.
So for you, that once again is promoting this idea of theatre for you and performing. You've never been much of a singer though.
Although I sang in your band in Standard Five.
I roped you in on that.
You made me sing Blur.
Song 2.
Yes,
Oh,
when
no,
I
we
don't
were
even think the mic was on.
No, we participated in a nice Stedford, and you were a sport. Thank you for.
Hey,
Thank
I'm
you for
like
being
a
a part of
famous musician. I used to be the lead singer of Russell's band.
Oh, funny. There was a band that we as Short Straw we played a show in London, and there were two bands that opened for us, and the one at the end of the night we said, "Wow, that one that opened first is they were good." Like there was something kind of special there. Didn't think about it. Came across them now recently on Instagram, and they are doing so well. They're a band called Only the Poets, and they're now playing these like arena shows.
And they were opening for you guys.
And they opened for us. So that can be my claim to fame as they hopefully progressively get more and more famous. I can be like, they once opened for us.
You need to make me another mixtape. You used to make like those CDs and introduce me to music.
Yeah.
Like music I didn't know.
Lovely. Okay, then we go off to varsity, and that's when we connected again in art school, and then we sort of also start working, and that's the film we call the It's Getting Serious film. Do you have any? Is it still musicals?
No,
Okay.
very different.
Okay.
Closer. Do you remember the movie
Yes.
Closer?
I rewatched that recently. It is on Netflix. I believe it's on Netflix.
Oh, is it? Those characters,
Yes.
you love all of them and you hate all of them.
Yes, so Closer is very special. And also, once again, there is a link to theatre because it was a play. And this is the film adaptation, and it has everyone who is famous. It is Natalie Portman, Clive Owen, Jude Law, Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal.
The
And
script.
it's just so well written. Like you know that if you, and I'm sure you can personally attest to this, that if you get given the right writing, it can take you from, even if you're a B grade actor, it'll take you to A. I think Bryan Cranston said that, and he said you can only do so much, but if you get given the right writing.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. I actually bought the play when I was in New York, and I still have a dream of playing one of those characters. I think I would want to play Julia Roberts' character.
Okay, yeah, because the Natalie Portman one is.
I can't do the splits like that.
Yeah. I don't know what's in the play, but yeah, she plays at some point a woman of the night, and there is a scene where I don't know in the play does she also open up a part of her underpants?
I'm not sure.
But no, that's a great film, and I actually rewatched it recently. Have you seen The Whale, the Brendan Fraser film that he won the Oscar for? You'd appreciate that in the same regard. It was a play. And immediately upon watching it, and even knowing it is a play, I think makes it just as good, even better. But when you watch it, it feels like you're watching a play. It's got that feeling.
Brendan Fraser. Being
So he, as you know, was in so many sort of sometimes quite silly movies when we were a kid, disappeared quite largely off popular radar.
and then came back.
And this is part of his comeback. Earlier this year, he won Best Actor for it.
Okay.
And
I
this
need
is
to be writing this down.
all of this will be in the description of the episode when it comes out, so you can use it as a reference. But it was very much a performance similar to, in the vein of Charlize Theron, where they've taken on this physical transformation. In The Whale, Brendan Fraser's main character is this literally morbidly obese man. So he put on a lot of weight himself, but then he wore a suit, and it's very much about this character who's just spiraled to the point where he just can hardly stand, hardly walk, hardly function. He never leaves the house. And the film takes place, and the story, I guess, so the play's the same, takes place over the last week, effectively, of his life, because he's going to go into some form of heart failure. And it's all about him kind of coming to terms with what's happened in his life, the people. He's got a daughter that he doesn't know, but it all takes place in the apartment, in the house.
Okay.
And it just it's phenomenal, and
interested
just from
to see him
from
in
a
that role.
performance role.
Brilliant.
Okay.
So that was Vasti.
Okay.
Is there another one?
Closer was special. Then the last one we have. And it doesn't even have to be a film you have met yet, is the film you would settle down with. And that could be one of the films you've mentioned before. You can always go back and, marry your high school sweetheart. But yeah, it's the film that you could always watch. And perhaps that's Sound of Music, or perhaps there's another one. Because I guess you've kind of entered a more of an adult phase now.
Yeah.
You're a mom.
Baby Shark. One I could always settle down with. Oh, I mean, I feel like such a cheeseball to go back to musicals, but The Greatest Showman.
Yep. No, let me tell you, as a grown-ass man, when
I'm not the only one.
No, when I watched that, I put it on, within the first 10 seconds, I got a lump in my throat. That like
you like smiling at the screen.
Emotional sort of point. And I was like, I'm going to be inches away from happy crying for the next 2 hours. It's a great film.
It's a great film.
Hey?
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
So I'll think about it. There might be another one, but that does come to mind.
It's a little bit of a gut reaction. It's nice that was that for you. That always says a lot, like what kind of comes to mind first. Maybe there might be others that crop up, but
as you can see, I'm not this hardcore film critic.
No, but it's not about that. And something that I love, which I'm always taking every opportunity to get across, is that the video store as a place was something for everyone. It was for people looking for a great musical classic. It was someone looking for some obscure French film or Russian film. It was a place for everyone. And I really want the podcast to be that, where people from all walks of life bring what they love and find what they love. But I think something like Closer, for example, is a good pick at this point, because not everybody knows about it, and it is available. It is on, I believe it's Netflix.
Oh, I think I'm going to
I
watch
rewatched
it
recently, and you just can immediately sense how well written it was.
I don't know if there's another one that I could settle down with.
I saw, while you're thinking about it, you went to the theatre last night.
Yeah. Speaking about like lump in your throat, Ndlovu, I saw Ndlovu Youth Choir last night, and they do The Greatest Showman, some of their songs.
Oh, okay. So what is the format? They were famous for being on like one of the
America's Got Talent. And they're now signed to Sony and Simon Cowell's label. And the Instagram ad just kept on coming up on my feed, and I was like, stuff it, I'm going.
Do you know what is coming up soon? Is that the woman from Sex and the City?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
I saw that. I saw all the posters for that last night.
The woman who wrote the book has got like a bit of a one-woman show.
Yeah, which could be saucy.
Could be interesting. Okay, but let's go back. So you
It's it's this choir from Limpopo, and it's it's these like 14 and 15-year-olds, but they are world-class singers.
Yeah.
Like world-class singers. That show that I saw at Monty last night could be on any stage. It is slick, it is professional. The singers, I mean, they could be on Broadway.
Yeah.
And the musical arrangements and the music selection, I mean, they do Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, Adele. Their cover of Adele, Go Easy, on me.
Oh lordy!
And
I
then-
can feel
yeah.
I can feel the goosebumps coming. Yeah.
No, it really is a great South African story.
Lovely. Okay. Now, well, I don't. How long is it on for? Do you know?
I know it's on. They're like, it's just this weekend in
Okay,
Joburg, but I'm
alright.
sure they'll be back.
Yeah.
They've been to Europe 5 times in the last year, America 3 times, South America. I mean,
Yeah. And what is quite nice about a choir is that hopefully it can be something that lives on forever, and that it's not necessarily a band where a personality moves on or
then
fights
it's
or
gone.
dies or something happens, and then what do you do afterwards? Like that choir could hopefully just forever be.
yeah, it's a good point. And they've got an Ndlovu
In
youth
existence.
school now, apparently. So I'm sure they're getting people up through the school.
Thank you for this. I appreciated connecting and
It's
chatting.
great. Yeah, and well done for the Bioscope and Short Straw and your podcast
Thanks,
and
man.
Limited a Dish and
It's important to have these friends in your life that you can stay in touch with and sort of see along the way. Like I think one of the last times we connected was for our friend Jess, who's a world-class choreographer, and we went and watched her performance. And so it's nice that we can keep supporting our friends and keep doing things. And I'm around for another wimpy breakfast if that's on the cards.
I'll let them know.
But thanks.
No, it's
And
been
yeah,
lovely.
and here's to many more musical theatre films that will come out that will hopefully keep inspiring you. I went and watched my niece's production of Moana,
Oh, okay.
and the main girl who sang Moana was very good, and it was very sweet.
I'm getting there. My daughter's got no choice but to love musicals. It'll be.
Yes,
Can't wait to do that with her.
lovely. All right, thank you. Thanks for popping in.
Thanks, Rasky Paul.
Okay, cheers. All right. What a lovely chat. And what a magical person.
Sounded wonderful.
So it's lovely to reconnect. That's what I unashamedly am using the podcast for, as a chance to connect and have a good, 30-minute, 40-minute chat with people that I really want to catch up with. What were you guys talking about with music?
We're talking about musicals just in general.
Well, that's great because we've just chatted with Hayley about musicals for the last half an hour. What were you saying about musicals?
I was talking about an Instagram video I stumbled upon from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. A whole bunch of people singing this amazing line in a studio. And it didn't sound like the original film recording.
Are you talking about the Disney Hunchback?
Yeah. But
Okay.
then this is like a different version of it with like an arrangement of this giant choir. And I sent it to Mr. Rocksmith.
Good old shout out to Jonathan Rocksmith.
Yeah. And he said,
Video Store alumni.
Video Store alumni, is that going to become a hashtag? And they
It
did
should.
it. He said
Loyal
they did
customers. They should be loyal customers.
it. Loyal customers.
That's nice, eh?
Keeping it within the brand.
Hey.
We're building our own little brand Bible. This is amazing. And he said they did it at the Paper Mill Playhouse, but it was too dark and didn't go to Broadway. So I guess the Paper Mill Playhouse is kind of this offshoot of Broadway to test musicals and then see if they're going to like be suitable for an audience or successful enough and then make
Okay.
it onto Broadway. But then I was telling Marigold about our little Alan Menken medley.
Okay, who's
in-
Alan Menken?
Alan Menken. Alan
That
Menken
name rings a bell.
is
Do
the
you know
composer.
Do you know who Alan
I
Menken?
don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of a spoiler for the musical key change that we put on. But Alan Menken is the composer of all the songs of the Disney Renaissance era, starting with The Little Mermaid, going through to Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Moulin.
Oh, wait, are you talking like a whole new world? Or are you
Yes.
talking about the score?
No, so the guy who wrote all the songs.
Oh, lordy.
And him and a guy named
Under the
Howard
Sea.
Ashman. Yeah, everything.
Oh, God.
Be Our Guest, Hercules, Go the Distance, Reflection from Moulin. Your childhood, 90s kids' childhood. It's
Just
Alan
one
Menken.
guy.
It was all one,
One
dude.
guy.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's amazing. And him and Howard Ashman, who was the lyricist, came from Broadway. So the big thing with the Disney Renaissance is that they started writing music that developed story and character in a way that the previous ones were just like playful numbers like supercalifragilistic. Just like, what is this is fun. But it developed story and narrative, so it had this emotional gravitas to it.
Do you know what he means by Disney Renaissance?
Just old Disney, would it be?
So
Or-
people have actually seen the Disney output as like these periods.
yeah.
And there was certainly like a time when it got a little weird and a little dark, and then there was that was like Black Cauldron and some of these like weird movies that you don't even remember even exist.
Yeah.
And then somehow with the structuring with like the CEOs and whoever was in charge, there was notably this kind of rise back of Disney, because now they're a juggernaut, right?
Yeah.
Like everything you touch is Disney.
Yeah.
At this point. But they refer to this particular period of films as like the Disney Renaissance period, because they just came back to life, and that was with Lion King, right, and Aladdin and Little Mermaid, and that's when that was basically at the start of our childhoods.
Okay.
And I think we're almost, someone will probably say this is like the live action period,
Yeah.
where they're now
Yeah.
doing live action versions and stuff. What's your favorite
Unfortunately.
musical, Marigold?
My favorite musical. Ooh.
Do you have a favorite?
I do.
Is it something that matters to you, or you?
Yeah, so
Oh.
much. It's like totally like what really made me as a person. And I don't think I should have watched this at my age, but Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, it's a good one.
I love
And
how
I-
that's your musical.
That's my musical.
That's such a Marigold musical.
It is.
It is like, yeah, totally defined me as like a human being, because I remember being like quite young in school and you're writing what you want to be when you grow up. And I was a boy that dressed up as a girl. That was what I wanted to
Right.
be when I grew up.
Did you write that?
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what that's about,
Yeah.
right? So much of that musical. How old were you? Do you remember?
I was like 5. My mom has
What?
it somewhere that I was like, I think I watched it even younger though. Like,
That is
and
nuts.
first time I watched the scene where Eddie, Frank hacks at him was
Yes.
when I was like 14, but I had watched the movie again and again, and my mom was always like, okay, cool, cover your eyes for this scene. Not like the touch me. No, that's fine. But like, can't see blood. No.
Wild.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you were too young for it at the time? Like, did you know,
No, not really.
or just
Like, it
looking
was
back
just-
now, you'd like, I wouldn't maybe show my child this.
Yeah, maybe
this
not.
age?
Maybe not. But, like we have like pictures of us performing like for our family. Like
Oh,
my
you
cousin
did
and I
the-
doing the like time warp for my mom and
Amazing.
like.
We always talk, we've spoken about this a few times on the podcast, haven't we?
What?
Where as a kid, if you were involved in the arts in any kind of shape or form, you would do the living room,
The living room
Exactly.
play, yeah.
That
So you
was
did
it.
living room
Of-
plays.
of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah,
That's way
so
more
funny.
badass. I was doing that to Sound of Music, so I was way more vanilla, or like, how do you say?
and I'm sure Hayley, our guest today, also did living room plays.
Yeah.
You one or the other. You either like, I want an audience, or you're like, I would never go up and dance in front of family and family friends. But it's that classic, like, after dinner, we're going to put on a show for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you put on Time Warp.
Yes.
Can you
Always.
imagine, like right now, 33-year-old Cole at the end of dinner going, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, good night.
It's lovely.
Um,
So, it's just so nice to have you back.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
just nice to connect again. As you can see from this chat, we've got this formula that we're working out now, which I
Yeah.
think is delightful. And it could be very cool to put you through it
I'd love
to
to. Yeah.
to some degree, and just even if we don't do it completely formally now, over the course of your time, it could be cool to hear the films that shaped you. We've already got one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious, where did you grow up again? Cape Town?
Joburg,
It was
yeah.
Joburg, but then you spent time in Cape Town.
Yeah. I was there for like a year and a bit.
Okay, but you were born in Joburg.
Yeah.
Okay. What was your puppy love film? I'm very curious to know.
Puppy love.
If you were watching Rocky Horror at 5,
Yeah.
it maybe could have been that.
It could
But
have been.
this is all about your relationship with film.
Mm-hmm.
So your relationships that you had when you were 4, 5, 6 were innocent puppy love
Yeah.
relationships.
Yeah.
And so what film came along that was that for you?
Ooh, probably The Labyrinth. That would be.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
David Bowie.
David Bowie, yeah.
Okay. I
Probably.
haven't
I've
seen
never seen it.
I
You've
haven't
never
seen it.
seen it?
Yeah.
Guys, I'm obsessed.
We
with
had a-
like
Yeah.
freaking like old school fantasy. Time Bandits, Labyrinth, Baron Munchausen, oof,
So
Dark Crystal.
So, Marigold was our cinema events manager for a glorious Renaissance period.
Yeah. Take me back.
And you would have loved this. We had a kid's birthday party where they watched. He was a German kid, so
Yeah.
like grew up in a German house. I think they went to the German school, and we watched Labyrinth in German.
Amazing.
For him
I
and
would
his-
have loved that.
Him and his friends, all from the German school.
Yeah.
And the mom made Labyrinth merch.
Wow.
And so they had like cups to go away with, and the kid had a little
That's
T-shirt.
cool.
I popped my head in at times.
I would have
Lordy,
died.
that's a weird movie.
I would have died to be there.
Yeah, you would have been like, "Sorry, please, can I just sit in the back?"
I would have.
Okay.
What's the back of the box for Labyrinth for the uninitiated? People that haven't heard of it or
I
seen
mean,
it.
I haven't watched it in a very long time. It's been a good couple of years, but it was definitely like a movie that I grew up with like the others that I listed.
What's the basic
I
premise?
know there's the Goblin King, which is David Bowie, and then there's the teenage girl who's like looking after her child. I mean, not her child, her little brother. And then he gets kidnapped, and it's like her going through the labyrinth. He gets kidnapped by the Goblin King, and it's like her going through the labyrinth to try and find her little brother.
Oh, so
Okay.
David
Yeah.
Bowie's a villain.
In a way, yeah. But then they have like this kind of like, you know, a little bit of a romantic thing going on. It's a little bit strange, but yeah. If I'm describing it well, if I'm not, it's been a couple of years since I've
Okay,
watched
but
it. Yeah,
Goblin King's
Goblin
maze
King.
saving the brother.
and it's amazing because it's all puppets, which is it's just so great. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Jim
that,
Henson.
It's that era where obviously there was no CGI, so
Yes.
they did it all with actual puppets.
And you
Yeah.
mentioned Dark Crystal,
Dark Crystal,
which is
Yeah.
also Jim Henson,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Did you watch the Netflix sequel,
I
prequel?
didn't. I was actually talking to my mom about it, and she was like, "You have to watch this," and I was like, "Yeah, but the puppets. Like, I don't want to watch it without the puppets."
They
No,
are
but
the
they
puppets.
use the puppets.
Did they use the
are
puppets? Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So it's a full-on, faithful, loyal recreation
Awesome.
of all the techniques that they used to make that first one.
Okay.
I think there might be some CG, but it's like very tastefully done. It doesn't like
Okay.
replace the puppets.
Okay.
But wasn't that one of those things that got put on
my
Disney
God,
Plus and then got taken away?
Or it better not have. It was a Netflix series.
It is.
Oh,
on
it was Netflix. Oh, then it's
yeah.
safe.
But they also did some tax
Then it's
things, didn't
safe.
they? Some tax-saving cuts.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
weird.
it's terrible. Imagine this like brilliant little piece of art that like hundreds of people put all this effort into. There's like amazing behind the scenes things, where they get into how the puppets and the sets were built around.
Yeah.
Like the puppets, like the little vulture dudes. I can't
Yes,
remember what they're called.
Sure, it's there. It's
Yes,
there.
it's
I know
on the tip
exactly.
of your
I
tongue.
know. Fuck, what are they called?
But yeah, it's an absolutely incredible story. And like, I wanted to go back and watch the original Dark Crystal because I'd never seen it before. And then just the jump after going from that prequel to the film was too much in terms of the data technology and this film style, in terms of it being a little bit, I suppose, fairy tale-y, like too
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
In the same way that Legend is. Did you like Legend?
I didn't watch that.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
like down your alley. It's part of this like
Okay.
labyrinth. Like
Okay.
it's Ridley Scott's fantasy film with Tom Cruise.
Okay.
And Tim Curry is a devil.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah, it like sounds amazing, but it's a stupid movie. I don't know.
Speaking of
Called
Tim
Legend.
Curry, have you listened to his music, like his solo music?
And I never knew that was a
He
thing.
had. We were at the vinyl store in Blakegowery,
Vinyl junkies.
Vinyl Junkies.
Shout out
and
to Benji,
Hey,
loyal customer.
love Benji.
Hey, it's catching on. Yeah, carry
But
on.
we were there and we saw Tim Curry had a solo 80s album that is
Yeah.
so good. Like super, super
Banging?
good. Banging, yeah.
Okay, shout
I
out
mean-
to old Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Amazing. His like greatest work for me, and I know people will say This is a bit sacrilegious because of Frankenfurter, but for me, it's Long John Silver and Muppets Treasure Island.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that?
I did, yeah.
Well, it's my childhood.
Is that your puppy love film?
It's one of them.
It's one of
there's,
them.
There's a few,
It's
but it's most
definitely
certainly
in the
one of
category.
them. Yeah.
Okay. Then we venture over to high school, and you have your sort of deeper crush,
Okay.
which might also be a little bit dangerous because
Okay.
you're now in high school. What do you think your high school crush film was?
Ooh,
Think about it.
I'm going to have to think about it.
And then the next one we have is the It's Getting Serious film, which is like your varsity
Yeah.
work life
Yeah.
start, which I kind of think that's pretty much where you're in now.
Yeah.
That's kind of the phase you're in
I'd
now.
say high school was like Angus, Thongs, and Perfect Snogging. Aaron Taylor Johnson, I think his name is.
That came up with the birthday party that we had here, and I'd never heard of this.
That
before.
would be like Aaron Taylor Johnson, I think his name is.
It
would
was a
be
book.
like, yeah.
And then this was the film version of it.
Yeah.
That would have completely driven past myself and Cole.
Yeah.
Okay.
It did.
So my-
I've never heard of it.
It was so great because it was like my best friends and I in high school, early high school, were like, a little bit awkward and not really knowing what's up with like love and dating and stuff. So when that movie, like when we found it, we were like, oh my God, it's as awkward as we are, but it's like, going through like coming of age in a way. And I think that would be,
That's interesting. So
Be
did
up
you,
there.
you felt yourself quite awkward?
yeah, definitely. Oh, I was so awkward.
Because I feel like you're very confident now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think you've kind of found your frequency now.
Yeah. I thank bars for that. I do. Like working in bars.
It forces
Working.
you into
Like,
socialization
exactly,
and talking to
exactly.
strangers and
Like,
being confident.
But the right
100%.
bars. You spend a lot of time in a bar like Smoking Kills.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
But
DJ. You've kind of
Yeah.
found your music.
yeah.
What kind of music do you play when
I-
you DJ?
I'm an 80s gal. I play a lot of 80s and a lot of disco and a lot of funk and new wave and post-punk and punk and
Quite nostalgic.
yeah, a little bit.
But you were born in?
2000.
Wild.
Yeah.
There was a time I've ever told you the story when we did a lot of trips as a band where we would have to fly to Cape Town or Durban or wherever. And Gad, the member of Short Straw, stays quite close to the airport. So it was quite convenient for us to all leave our cars, 4 or 5 cars, at Gad's house where there was parking space. And then we'd all pile into his car and just park one car at the airport. And so we were piling in one day, and it involved that the one guy, Jake, the drummer in the band, was not going to have a seat. And my instinct was, come, Jake, come sit on my lap and I'll tell you about the 80s.
Oh my God.
Because he was only born in 1990, and that was always a joke amongst the older guys who
Oh,
were born in
weird.
85.
I was born in 1990. Jake and I should chat.
Yeah. Well, come, Gad, come, Cole, come sit on my lap. I'll
Tell you about the 80s.
tell you about the 80s. So you were 2000.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. We have a keyboardist that we played with in Cape Town now who's 23 at the moment.
Yeah.
His name is Michael Wilson Trollop. He's a Nord-endorsed keyboardist, a composer for a show on Cakenet called Diepe Waters,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
which is really interesting. He has a one-day turnaround on an episode to compose it, just like blows my mind. But backstage, we were having conversations. Oh, you studied at Berkeley?
Yeah, I was about to say, I could also produce a score in a day. It's just not going to be very good.
Yeah.
So he's
Yeah, that's the
really
difference.
he's
Like,
really good at his job.
He's an incredible musician. Like I had such a great time catching up with him. But then backstage we have this thing where instead of break a leg, John and I would say to each other, "Gesnark," from The Sims. Like we do Sims like language to each other sometimes. And then Mike goes like, "What's that? What's that from?" I was like,
You
"Oh,
just
it's from The Sims." And then he goes, "Like The Simpsons." Or
God.
sins with an N.
I
was
am
like,
even
"You haven't heard of
too
The
old
Sims?"
for The Sims.
I've
I am
got some-
Sim City.
I've got some really messed up things to tell you guys about this.
Oh no, our darkest selves
like
emerge
really sad.
from playing with The Sims. Tell us the most malevolent thing you've done to a Sim.
Ooh, I mean, you know the like put them in the pool, take out, the
ladder,
ladder. But that like isn't the worst. It's not really what I did to my Sims. It was the fact that I had played Sims. So Origin tells you the software tells you how many hours you've played. I've been playing Sims since I was 4 years old, and so all that time isn't recorded. I worked it out. I've spent a year and 93 days in playing
Like gameplay
Sims.
time.
A year, yes. I worked out the hours. A year and 93 days of my life
Yeah.
has been given.
It's like when your cell phone tells you what your screen time is. Like that's the amount of time your eyeballs were on your phone, and it's depressing.
It's
It
depressing.
is very depressing. But like, think about how much joy The Sims brought you
It
as
really
a child.
did. It was
you know?
super like therapeutic because whenever like I felt like my life was too much or too crazy, I'd just like make me, but in like a perfect being. Like, you know.
That's really interesting. I'm a little too old for that. I missed The Sims because I played Sim City, where you build the cities and you have to put your residential areas, and it's all
100%.
quite like architecturally and it's a bit more town planning.
Yeah.
And then I saw The Sims come where it was more like you have to go in and you have characters and people and you have
Think
to
yourself.
build a little world. It reminds me a little bit of us talking about Ready Player One, this idea of you going into a world and being in a world and spending time in it as your avatar.
It's coming.
Interesting. One little fun fact. Fun fact.
Is that going to be a
Yeah.
That shouldn't be. That shouldn't
Oh, what? Oh, is that the thing from old episodes? Yes,
Yeah,
I've already forgotten.
It's a whole back to
Sure,
old episodes.
sorry, you've
do you
now
know
forgot.
why? Do you know why?
Fun fact.
Do you know what? That's it.
Yeah.
Do you know why they say break a leg?
Why?
So that you will be in a cast.
Okay.
So going into an audition, you say break a leg, and it's from the expression.
So it's a pun.
It's a pun.
Amazing.
It's like a hidden pun.
Okay.
Have you guys heard of musical theatre superstition in any shape or form?
Sure.
A little bit.
I've like been through the ringer in terms of being indoctrinated or like educated on what you can and can't do backstage in a change room.
Tell us.
Because I shared a room with Jonathan, who's like,
One sec. Do you know what Cole's done recently?
I don't know.
Cole is also a musician, and he's been in this production called Key Change, where they were in Cape Town and now they're going to be in Joburg in October. It's like a musical review.
less musical theatre review and more like pop rock. Right?
Yeah, okay, cool.
But it's centered around the piano.
It's centered around the piano, and playing the main piano is Jonathan Rocksmith, who we've had on the show. So he's a loyal customer.
Yeah.
And he's fantastic. He's incredible. He's the kind of guy that's done Phantom of the Opera 700 times, and he's traveling the world, and he's exceptional. Like a really like world class performer.
That's amazing. You must go to his Insta and watch him singing Music of the Night because he posted it. They recorded it when they were in China and lockdown started or something. And it's him on the stage singing Music of the Night. And he posted it now when Phantom closed on Broadway. When it like ended its like whatever 40-year run, however long it was. As his dream was to play Phantom on Broadway because he's played it in 7 other countries. Or it's like he's done it all around the world except for the West End and Broadway. And that was his dream to be the first South African Phantom.
So Cole has had a lot of first-hand experience with musical theatre and performing, and tickets are on sale for the Joburg run at
Sales Punch. Oh, web tickets.
Cool. All right, go back. So now we are talking about musical theatre.
So the problem is, like, as a muso, I don't know, maybe this is just my experience, but I can't stop singing, thinking about music. So I'm whistling all the time or I'm humming a tune.
100%. When I was at varsity and we were involved in musical productions, you sing far more than you ever would normally because it's around you and everyone's warming up their voices and like...
Yeah.
No, even just like around the house, just singing songs and.
Yeah.
But I would like whistle backstage, and Jonathan would be like, "No, no, 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 no." I was like, "What?" He's like, "You can't whistle backstage. That's bad luck." And I was like, "Oh fuck! What do I have to do to get rid of the bad luck?" He's like, "You have to turn a circle 3 times, spit on the floor, and throw salt over your shoulder,"
Over your shoulder.
which I didn't do. But yeah, we didn't have any nightmare performances. The other one is you cannot mention Macbeth.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
you can't say it by name.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's called, you have to refer to it as the Scottish play.
Yeah. And I totally spoke about it once.
No.
Like, I
So
was just like,
sad. Can't
yeah,
do
I was just
that.
like, I didn't know.
Did you ever watch the Macbeth film recently?
Not recently.
Oh, what, the Coen brothers
The one
one?
that the Coen brothers made with
Not
Denzel
was
recently.
Washington.
It was a
Coen
long
brother.
time ago.
Yeah, it was just one of the Coen brothers. Recently, in the last 2 years.
Did it come out?
Yeah. It was made. It was one of those where you could miss it because it was made for Apple TV, but it was nominated for an Oscar at the time.
Was there another Macbeth? I feel
Oh,
like
there've
there
been
was.
plenty.
Yeah.
There've been plenty,
Okay,
but
then
they
I'm thinking of
recently
something
did it in this kind of beautiful, artistic black and white version that one of the
Okay.
Coen brothers did. Denzel Washington is Macbeth. Frances McDormand is Lady Macbeth. It's very cool.
It sounds amazing.
And it was one of those, like, I did Macbeth in high school. I
Mm.
was part of the production. And when you do a play, it's amazing how even not just your lines, everyone's lines, you know well.
Yeah.
And then also at Varsity, I crewed on the Wits production of Macbeth. I was in the sound desk doing the sound cues, and I had to do the whole like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's performance of Macbeth. Please turn off your cell phones and
Got a
nobody.
good voice.
Thank you.
It's a good voice for that.
It was kind of eerie and weird to have to do that, but I did it. So you know every line, and then of course you promptly forget about it. It's very similar to language, right? At one point you could maybe speak a language, but then you slowly lose it. But when I watched that film, it was amazing how every single line, as it was delivered, I was like, I know that line. I know that. I know it. I know it. And the whole play came back to me.
I have that with Hamlet always. I just sometimes randomly I'll just like think of, the monologue.
The soliloquies.
I don't know it
and-
so well, but do you know what blew my mind at Varsity was it was one of the Americans that came over that was like, yeah, that's Lion King.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what? And they're like, Lion King's Hamlet. It's the same story. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize that. Even like the dead dad, instead of the skull in his hand, it's Mufasa in the sky.
And then
But
you even
it's
have
the same.
Scar with the little animal skull in his hand when Zazu's in the ribcage, and he's got a little skull in his hand playing along.
No, and the whole like kind of gets with
I
the
didn't, yeah.
gets with the wife
It's crazy.
Okay.
to some
okay.
degree. Obviously, they don't sexually get with
Yes,
the wife, but
yes.
he's at least taken her.
Yeah, it's too
Sort
old
of-
boy for Disney.
Yeah.
I wanted
We're
to
gonna
say,
we're gonna get
yeah, we're
to
going
old
to get onto
boy.
it. But I wanted to say before you move on, have you guys ever heard of Throne of Blood? So Akira Kurosawa,
Yes.
Japanese extraordinaire filmmaker,
Yeah.
made an Edo period set version of Macbeth called Throne of Blood.
Okay. Edo period being a time in Japanese history.
Yes.
Okay. The Edo period.
Yeah, like we have lords and ronins and samurais and all of that. And it is so beautiful. It is so amazing. And yeah, I'm just going to throw that in as a little interjection. You have to watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be a Video Store Presents, but I don't know if it's too classic cinema for the general crowd.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'd love to have it as one. We'll brainstorm more this session. What's the next film for Marigold?
We're kind of getting to that end, which is your settle down film, which
Okay.
you are not ready to settle down. You're too young to settle down. But that's the last in the category, which
Okay.
is what you would be happy with being your film for the rest of your life.
Not Till Death Do Us Part.
The film you would sort of marry, so to speak.
I think we've spoken about it, but The Holy Mountain. That's my
So you
everything.
already know your.
I love that movie so
What's the
much.
Holy Mountain?
The Holy Mountain, Alejandro Jodorowsky's 1973. Like
You
Freaking-
have come from another fucking time.
Yeah. You're just this special little spirit that was born in 2000 that knows like everything that those kids don't
And let
know.
me just tell you, if there was a weird, let's put it, the movie Your Name, when this male and this female
Mitsuha.
meet each other from a different time period, but they somehow bridge a gap. That's a deep dive. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, if I was in high school with you, like we would totally be chummies.
yeah.
Like I'd be like, you're fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like you probably think you're awkward, but like let's watch weird movies together. Because I was that dude.
yeah.
And I had my friends that, we all met at the start of high school and were all good buddies. But by the end of high school, loved them. They were my friends, but they were jocks. By the end of the high school, like they had grown into themselves as first team rugby players, a lot of them. And so it was cool that I could still run in those circles,
Yeah.
but I definitely didn't feel like I belonged there.
Yeah.
And I found myself at this sort of duff nightclubs going, oh my God, there's got to be something more than this.
Yeah.
Like, please tell me this is not how we are going to spend our nights.
We're going to go home and watch The Holy Mountain.
my favorite.
What is
Tell
that?
me-
What is
tell
that?
us about it. What is
Okay.
it?
Do you know about it, Cole?
I've heard of it.
Okay.
Please, guys.
Holy
It is-
Mountain.
It's so incredible. It's the visuals are just absolutely insane.
Wait, what year was it made?
1973.
Okay.
The visuals are absolutely insane. It's the story is basically you've got your alchemist and he is taking this man on this journey and 9 other of like the world's leaders on this quest to the Holy Mountain. But they kind of
Where's
go
it set?
I
Does it matter?
Earth?
Earth, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
But these 9 rulers are different planets. So you've got like Venus and Mercury, and they all have a different category. So you've got war, you've got art, you've got like sex, you've got all these different rulers, which are all different planets, but they're all, as people. And it's just like they go into like, if you want to look into the future from 1973 and in our current world right now and things that are happening, like they talk about how we give children toy guns to get them more comfortable with going to war later on. And it's amazing. And
One
the
of those kind of mind-blowing
over-sexualization
moments.
of art and how it's actually like, it's stupid, like the art industry and like, you know, exhibitions and stuff. And the industry is just like, they kind of like pick at it and like, this is not really that productive and you're kind of dulling down art. It's phenomenal. And oh my God.
Timeless, very timeless conversation.
Alejandro is like,
Have you?
What else did he
He's-
make? Sorry.
So, like on that conversation, sorry to interject. Have you heard of Jodorowsky's Dune?
I have. Yeah.
So he was going to make Dune.
He was.
The famous film that was never made.
That was
Yeah.
never made. Yeah.
So
he
they've
was.
so they've made a documentary which is that title.
Yes.
Jodorowsky's Dune.
Also, listen to
Which
his
is the-
son's music. It's incredible.
Oh no! You
Oh, wait,
have
so sorry,
so
so
much
sorry.
to explore.
This is the same filmmaker.
yes.
Yes.
The
Okay.
same guy.
Okay. All right. So he made Holy Mountain. That
Holy
probably,
Mountain.
and then off the back of that was then going to try and attempt.
I think it might have
Dune.
been before.
Or
I think
before,
That was
but-
like the late
but-
'60s that he tried to make
It
it.
sounded like he was the right filmmaker to be attempting Dune, but it was kind of before his time.
It was completely before its time.
Yeah.
The entire thing that like treatment that he generated for that film, like later came to inform. Also used Geiger in his concept arts,
What's Geiger?
who is the guy who did
Alien.
all the Alien designs.
My favorite
So it was like
artist ever.
way before like Hollywood adopted science fiction and popularized it and then made it horror with Ridley Scott. Like before all of that, Jodorowsky was trying it before its time and used the treatment from that film
He's an
basically
alien.
to inform. Yeah.
He's an alien.
Where was he from?
He's Chilean, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
His interviews
Chilean.
are amazing. I love watching him speak. It's like so enthusiastic
He's-
and
He's
So he
an
must
alien.
be a bully now. Is he still with us?
I don't know.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. I wonder what he thinks of the Dune that's now been.
Which has been postponed by 6 months.
Yeah, part 2
I can't.
is only coming out next year now
Okay.
because of the actors' strike,
Okay. Yes.
the writers' strike.
Yeah.
Just interesting.
Yeah.
I'm busy reading it. I'm more into it now.
That's been the theme for this year is Russell's reading Dune.
me trudging
Amazing.
through this thick science fiction film. I mean, book.
How's it going?
Yeah, cool. I'm now into part 2. Like I'm now wading through parts that I haven't seen on film yet, and I'm very excited because it's going to be one of the first times I'm going to watch a big budget movie based off source material that I would have read because I missed all of that. Like,
Yeah.
with Lord of the Rings, I didn't care too much for Harry Potter, but I've never really had it where I've read the book first. So I'm quite excited. Have you read Dune?
I haven't read Dune.
Okay.
No.
No, it's a dense book, but I'm digging it. Anything that we're watching at the moment that we like? I've got something.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
You go first.
I'll start. It's really light
Okay.
and really fun. And do you know what? We've spoken about this a few times. Sometimes you need this kind of show.
yeah.
It's on Disney Plus and it's called Not Dead Yet,
Okay.
which is really sweet. And it's fun and it's witty and it's got many of the same actors that were in New Girl and Superstore. So it's that smart, witty comedy, you know, that evolved out of the sitcoms. And the main back of the box is, which you get from the first episode. And the moment that happened, I was like, oh, I like this. It's a fun sitcom meets The Sixth Sense.
Okay.
Well, that's
how
a
I would-
good. That's
how
a
I
good
would
pitch.
pitch it.
That's your elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Sorted.
Yeah.
Well done.
So the hook is main character is a journalist who's come back after something. You later find out marriage, divorce, and is now back in her old job with her old friends and is a journalist and gets given the job of writing the obituaries and discovers that whoever she's been assigned to write the obituary for that week or that time appears
Okay.
next to her as a ghost.
Okay.
And she gets to know them and talks through them as
Oh,
she
cool.
navigates her life. And only once she hits send to publish their obituary
Then they're gone.
do they disappear, and then the next one arrives. And so each episode can be a new personality. And of course, there's a little bit of heartfelt, a little bit of comedy. It's really sweet. And it's one of those, like, when you find it, you're like, oh, this is nice.
No.
This can be a nice we call them fall asleep shows. It's
Yeah.
like the ones that are just the end of a long day. You kind of need it, but it's not dumb. So Not Dead Yet on Disney Plus. Cool.
Good recommendation. I'm going to watch that. That was
Yeah.
a really good pitch, Russell. Well done.
Cool.
For me, and I think I'm joining a lot of people around the world on this, it's The Bear Season 2.
Yes, I am now catching up and
Really?
watching one. It's
was-
the first season.
So I think this series, I've been thinking about it a lot, and obviously I'm really excited by it, and I'm making statements which I tend to do, like, it's the best film ever made. What I'm doing now is I'm saying, like, this is the most true-to-life fiction
I agree.
I've ever seen.
I couldn't agree more.
Right?
I couldn't agree more. It made me feel a lot of PTSD coming from hospitality. Like there's certain scenes, like the fighting and stuff, and it's like uncontrollable. The going to sleep and you're still dreaming about work. Like I'd put my head down and like very vividly be able to still see like table numbers. You know, like it
Yeah,
is
yeah, especially when you do it at night.
so real. Like
I remember feeling that just from the first 10 minutes of the first episode of
Yeah.
season 1, that it felt like a kitchen happened and cameras were in the corner.
right,
Yes.
exactly.
And the cameraman just had to get out the way because they were
It was
acting.
brilliant.
Or they were being in a kitchen.
It was brilliant.
No, okay, so season 2 is going strong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you watch season 1 and you experience the anxiety and stress and how well that translates into the form, like how it's shot, how it's edited, how it's written. And then you think to yourself, what the hell are they going to do in season 2? Because season 1, like, bow ties really well. And I don't think it's too much of a spoiler because it's like a bit of a premise, but they renovate the restaurants and they reopen.
Yeah.
And that's the plot for
Yeah,
season 2.
That's enough. Yeah.
And it's so
Good.
stressful. It's the exact same kind of format, but I think like everyone that's watching it should make an effort to pay attention to the script writing and the editing, because I think more than most series, this understands how film can edit in ways that other mediums cannot. This is the thing that makes it film, right?
But I mean, you're talking about a TV show. That's what's so interesting.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like the
But you're
form
feeling
of,
it like
yeah,
a film. Yeah.
Exactly. But the script writing even, where you sit there and realize, oh, the dialogue that I thought was naturalistic in other things that I've watched is actually still like very scripted.
Yeah.
Everyone's still academic and speaking in a non-human way, especially the chef, the woman who's designing the menu in the second season.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name. Sydney. Is it Sydney?
Yeah.
She's when she speaks, there's a lot of interruption. She's saying, and you know, like we're putting this and you were doing that, and like there's all these hesitations that you would
Yeah.
write out of your script because you think that doesn't sound polished and professional. But then they just, oh no, I love it.
It's
I love
so
it so
good.
much.
So The Bear, now on second season, and that's over on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and
2
then
Disney Pluses.
my other fall asleep show, which I actually shouldn't put onto the internet, is basically a J drama for 13-year-old Japanese girls, based off a manga. It's called Ikimen. No, that's a song. It's For You in Full Blossom, like high school something called Hanazakari no Kimi Tachi
Oh.
is the Japanese
When
name.
we were housemates.
Oh, no, I showed you this.
No, well, you showed me a bit of it. When we were housemates, it was a password. No, it was the name of our, what was it? It was the name of our Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Was called For You in Full Blossom.
Yeah, it's like Boy Paradise or something.
Yeah, that's another
Yeah.
side to call.
Yeah, exactly. It's very scum. It's
Where can you watch that anywhere?
no, you
No.
can't find it anywhere. But
It's out on the
basically,
feeds.
this young Japanese girl, when she was in America, went to go watch a high jumper because the beauty of his high jump inspired her so much.
Oh,
It's
beautiful.
so anime.
Yeah.
But then she is accosted by this gang of thugs, and he saves her, the high jumper. And in the process, his Achilles tendon is like cut, and he can't jump anymore. So then she
That's my
goes
worst
to
nightmare, by the way.
right.
I'm so scared.
That that's terrifying.
So scared of what? Your Achilles heel.
Someone.
That's like every
Someone
time you
chipping
see
your-
those
the back of
Muma
your
kill
ankle.
in Return of the King when they cut the elephant's legs. Like
Yes.
you're like, oh no, it's so painful.
Your
But-
hurts.
It like hurts your soul when you see it. But she goes to his high school in Japan in order to get him to jump again because she feels guilty for ruining his high school jumping or his like professional high jumping career.
Okay.
But the thing about the school is that they enlist boys based on how good looking they are.
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, it's crazy. It's very stupid.
this is a
I'm
show.
Sorry. Yeah, this is a show. Yeah,
All right.
it's terrible.
What are you watching, Marigold?
Series wise?
Anything.
Anything.
Okay. Well, I've okay, so a few very dark movies.
Okay.
But in terms of like a light,
Doesn't have to be light. No, we can go dark.
I mean, what I am watching at the moment, like the series wise, is
Yeah.
relatively light.
Okay. And what's that?
I've been on like a zombie craze at the moment.
Okay.
A lot of zombie films.
Okay.
Or even not even zombie, just cannibals.
Okay, quite specific. Yeah.
But I'm watching Santa Clarita's Diet or something like that. Clarita Diet.
The Santa Clarita Diet.
Yeah, with Drew
Barrymore.
Barrymore. Yes, watching that at
That's
the moment.
quite old. It's been around for a little
been
while.
around,
It was I think it was one of Netflix's first big Hollywood A-lister kind of TV shows
Yeah.
that they made to try and get you to come over.
It's cool. I'm enjoying it so far.
Drew Barrymore's the lead.
Yeah.
She has to eat.
She's a zombie.
She has to be a zombie. She has to eat flesh.
Yeah.
But
she
it-
has to? What does that mean?
Well, she's a zombie, so she has
Okay,
to.
like,
yeah.
that's
That's
how
how
survival
she gets
necessity.
the
Okay, cool.
craving for it. She doesn't know why.
Yeah,
And then she realizes that that's what she needs to
Yeah.
survive.
yeah. So
But she
I've been-
doesn't look like a zombie.
No, she's still Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore.
yeah.
Oh, like warm bodies vibes.
Warm bodies
Okay.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, like look in terms of the look,
Yeah.
the treatment.
Speaking of sort of a little darker, let's just wrap up by just talking a little bit about Old Boy, which you two went and represented the video store last week with. Was this the first time you'd seen it?
Yeah, I was telling Cole, like I had been chatting, and I think I told you as well. I was chatting to a friend, and he was like, "Oh, this is my favorite movie," and then you messaged me, and you were like, "Hey, last minute, come through and watch this,"
Yeah.
not knowing anything about it.
It's quite cool to go in very cold like that. I remember,
Yeah.
I've said this once or twice, but I think it was the film Pan's Labyrinth, where I remember as I sat down and the cinema went dark, I was like, I actually don't know anything about this film.
Yeah,
And it was so cool to go in completely cold with nothing.
it was a lot.
It is a
It
lot.
was a lot.
It is a lot.
I was a little bit like,
Yeah.
I had to take a moment afterwards. Like,
But something I was saying to Cole is that it's the kind of film, even though it has been adapted, I haven't seen the American
I'll never watch that.
remake, but it's the kind of film that what I think is interesting, because let's not talk too much about it, because perhaps it's a film that, let's not talk too much about it specifically, but I think what's interesting is that it's a Korean film. It was made 20 years ago. What I was saying to Cole is that because it's an Asian film, it's got these themes that an American or a Western film wouldn't write. And things like honor and honoring the legacy and honoring your family and all these kinds of things. And that sits at the helm of this movie,
yeah,
where the characters act in a particular way that no American actor would ever act about something.
sure.
There could be this crazy trauma that you've now realized or been exposed to you, but then you sort of kind of gulp and get on with life or struggle with it or grapple with it, but not in the same way. And there's acting and there's moments that are just so, what feels like very uniquely Asian. And I think that's the charm of us watching, be it Old Boy, this classic 20-year-old Korean film that many consider the greatest film they've ever watched,
Yeah.
down to For You in Full Blossom. It's just
Yeah.
so cool to see that the priorities are different. The way of
Yeah.
seeing the world is different. And I
Yeah.
think that's exciting.
Now, the Koreans specifically, I don't know if it's to do with like that history that they have in Korea, but they tend to take the idea of Greek tragedy and lean into it in a way that like shows you how vile people can be, like the worst parts of ourselves, how like situations can completely unravel. And it's usually darker than what most things are. Like even when you compare it to Japanese films,
Oh, it could
And-
even be darker.
yeah, it's
Korean,
like
Korean specifically.
yeah, exactly. When you get into like Memories of Murder or I Saw the Devil, a whole bunch of other Korean films, they all are the same, like unapologetically violent. Like they're not concerned about censorship in that way. But thematically, the stuff that's more disturbing is, everything else that Old Boy digs into. And I think it's my favorite, one of my favorite films, top 4, easily on Letterboxd. I feel sorry for my friends because like, I think I've made like 6 friends sit down and watch Old Boy because it's my love language
Yeah,
to
this
make
is
people
Cole's
watch,
love language.
watch movies.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for them. Michael did not enjoy it. He sent me reviews on Letterboxd he agreed with that were half a star. And it's just like I didn't want to come to a cinema at night to watch an Oedipus complex movie. Like, thanks. And I was just like, oh no, this is a schism in our relationship in the shape of Odesu.
We spoke about like watching YouTube recaps afterwards, and I did after
brilliant.
we watched it, and it was like the like one review was like, yeah, there's like a lot of like sex scenes, so don't watch this with people. And it was like, I was in a full cinema. Like,
But no, they're not that many.
Yeah, I mean, there's one.
there's one that's
Well, both of them actually. There's two, but like, yeah, they both have
It's,
a specific
you know,
direction. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Fun for the whole family.
We have we have a monthly Korean film night coming soon with the Korean
Amazing.
embassy.
amazing.
I'm not sure we're going to be watching Old Boy and these kinds of films, but it's going to be interesting to see which films they want
Ooh, I'm going to be very
to
curious.
do. And very interestingly, they want to do it during the day.
Okay.
In the week during the day. And I said, wouldn't you want to do it at night? And they're like, no, we'll do it during the day. And I'm like, okay,
Okay, cool. That's what you want.
sure. If you
I
want
hope
to,
I can make it.
you want to
That
do
sounds
that,
amazing.
but I'll let you know. Yeah.
I wanted to know your reading on Bong Joon-ho turned 60 on the day that we showed the movie. Like, not Bong Joon-ho. Wow, sorry, Graham. Please edit that out. I don't want the internet to hear that. I just,
Okay.
he's going to keep it in. But Park Chan-wook, the director, turned 60 on the day that we screened it here last Thursday.
Wow.
Yeah. And Letterboxd did a big interview with him. And he said that he was reading reviews from Letterboxd and responding to them, and said that he directed Old Boy to be a comedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is nuts when you think about it. And the moments we were sitting here, it's so cool to see it in the cinema because you hear all the chuckles at moments
Yeah.
Yeah.
when you're sitting there going, that is hilarious, but it's fucked up, but it's funny.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
Okay, so he wanted it to be a comedy. No,
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mm.
Interesting.
And they are so good at that, the Koreans specifically. Sorry, talking about that difference, is that they'll have these things that are grotesquely disturbing and violent, but then they'll have these moments. Think of Parasite that you like laugh out loud, and they can balance this contrast in tone so well. And I feel like that seldomly happens in American movies.
Sure.
It seems to be like a bit monotone in terms of a genre. It picks a lane and it sticks in it.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah, there can be moments of comedy to lighten along the way, but it never is quite as evenly balanced.
it's like, think about the part of the hammer and the line.
Yeah, I loved it.
Like, it's
Yeah.
hilarious. It's
Yeah.
funny.
It gave me like Edgar Wright.
Oh,
energy.
totally.
Like,
Right?
you know?
Yeah. Okay, magic. Cool, guys. I think let's wrap that up. I think we had a nice long day at the video store, and I think it's time to turn off the lights and go home.
Mm.
And I think on that note, it's just so lovely to have you back with us.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I hope to see more of you down the way.
Yes.
Keep being weird and
I
cool.
will.
Keep watching weird movies. And thank you for listening. We will be back again next week. Our home base is the videostore.co.za. And over there, you can find your platform if you haven't found that already, and all our social media. And we would love to hear from you. So chime in. Let us know what some of your films were along the way. We also love to hear that. And also what you think about the stuff we've spoken about. Cool. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Cheers. See you next week.
Bye.